Here is something happening right now in 2026 that should be mathematically impossible. In the United States, average household income is at an all-time high. Yet, according to data from Goldman Sachs, over 40% of Americans earning over $300,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck. Even wilder, a meaningful share of households pulling in $500,000 admit they don't have enough cash to cover an unexpected car repair. They are rich on paper, but completely broke in reality. By every metric, the system is under massive stress. Now, look across the Pacific. Japan has faced 3 decades of stagnating wages. Their interest rates have hovered near zero for a generation. On paper, Japanese families should be in financial ruin, but instead, they quietly hold trillions of dollars in long-term assets, and their multi-generational businesses survive across centuries instead of quarters. The gap between these two worlds is not income. The gap is structure. Today, we are breaking down the 7 hidden financial filters that will ruthlessly cut the fat out of your budget and force your money to work for you. Using Japanese principles, but calculated in American dollars. No boring academic lectures, just the cold, hard math of survival. The vast majority of American budgets make the exact same fatal mistake. They are engineered to spend 100% of available money. You bring home $8,000 after taxes, and your brain automatically expands to fill all $8,000. Rent, subscriptions, dining out, car payments, groceries. The moment that happens, you enter kamikaze mode. One unexpected medical bill or emergency, and you slide straight into high-interest debt. The Japanese financial alternative is a principle called Hara Hachi Bu, which roughly translates to, eat until you are 80% full. Okinawans attribute their extreme longevity to this single rule. They stop eating while still slightly hungry, and the surplus calories that cause chronic disease never enter their bodies. Now, apply this to your bank account instead of a plate. A Hara Hachi Bu budget deliberately stops at 80%. If your post-tax income is $8,000 a month, your entire spending plan, including all your lifestyle choices, is strictly built around $6,400. The remaining $1,600 is completely invisible to your lifestyle. It vanishes into your brokerage or high-yield savings account the exact second your paycheck hits. You don't save what is left after spending. You spend what is left after investing. The behavioral difference is everything. To make this work, you need to run your finances through 5 psychological filters that insert friction between your impulse and your wallet. Filter 1. The Kakeibo 4-question audit. Most American budgeting apps tell you how you screwed up after the money is already gone. The traditional Japanese method, Kakeibo, does the exact opposite. Before any non-essential purchase, like a $140 Amazon order at 11 p.m., you physically pause and write down the answers to 4 questions with a pen on paper. 1. How much money do I actually have right now? 2. How much do I want to save this month? 3. How much am I about to spend? 4. How will this purchase genuinely improve my life? Data shows this simple 30-second physical friction cuts monthly discretionary spending by up to 35%. The order gets smaller, and sometimes it disappears entirely. Filter 2. Mottainai. Repair over replace. In a culture driven by fast fashion and 24-month phone upgrades, the concept of Mottainai treats waste as culturally shameful. It's the philosophy that every object you own is a long-term asset. Look at the math. Spending $60 on a laptop battery swap instead of triggering a new $1,500 device purchase. Getting a $120 repair on a washing machine instead of buying a new one. Repairing items at 30% of their replacement cost saves the average household roughly $20,000 over a decade. Invested at a standard 10% market return, that single habit turns into over $100,000 in cold cash by the time you retire. Filter 3. Gaman, the graveyard of cravings. Gaman means perseverance with patience, the ability to want something and choose not to act on it. It is the absolute opposite of the American slogan, treat yourself. The application is brutal. For any non-essential purchase over $200, You impose a mandatory 30-day waiting period. Write it down on a list with the date and walk away. Behavioral studies show that the vast majority of impulse desires completely fade within the first 2 weeks. The 30-day list becomes a graveyard of cravings that quietly died on their own, saving you thousands every single year. Filter 4. Shoshin, the beginner's mind subscription audit. Shoshin means approaching the familiar as if you are seeing it for the very first time. Once a year, you sit down with your statements and look at every recurring charge as a total stranger. The average household in 2026 carries $273 a month in forgotten, overlapping, or barely used subscriptions. That is over $3,200 a year leaking out on autopilot. Ask the Shoshin question. If I were not already paying for this, would I sign up today at this price knowing my actual usage? If the answer is no, you cancel it immediately. No negotiations. American retail investing is currently a graveyard of skipped first stages. People who don't even have a $1,000 emergency fund are opening apps to trade highly leveraged options, chase meme coins, and buy speculative tech. They try to invent their own rules before they even know the basics. The Japanese framework of mastery is called Shu-Ha-Ri, and it splits your financial journey into 3 strict phases. Stage U. Follow the rules. This is the unglamorous phase. You select one broad market index fund, like an S&P 500 fund. You set up automatic contributions every single paycheck, and you learn absolutely nothing else for 3 years. No reallocations, no stock picking, no reading market commentary. Just the quiet, boring repetition of compounding. The market historically yields roughly 10% long-term. By doing nothing but contributing, you will outperform 95% of active traders who spend 3 years trying to optimize. HA. Break the rules with understanding. Only after mastering discipline for years do you adapt. Maybe you add an international fund or adjust your allocation because you finally have the data and competence to back it up. RI. Transcend the rules. This is the expert level. But almost every retail investor fails because they try to start at RI with a guesswork portfolio instead of building the foundation at Shu. You don't need Japanese citizenship for this to work. You just need a structural framework that inserts a barrier between your impulse and your actions. Every habit we covered today does exactly that. None of them require a higher income, a crazy side hustle, or a complicated tech stack. They just require a willingness to feel slightly out of step with a hyper-consumerist culture for the next 10 to 20 years. While everyone else is driving a luxury car financed on an 84-month loan, you are quietly building invisible, multi-generational wealth. Start today with just one rule: Hara Hachi Bu. Slice 20% off your next paycheck before your brain even gets a chance to see it. Money isn't a scorecard for status. It is a vehicle for your ultimate freedom. This is Honey Invests Money. Fix the math, protect your structure, and I'll catch ya in the next video. Bye.